Well, here we are. We are the Browns postgame show here on the Fanatical Elfz Network. And no, the game is not over yet, though the lights are out. We are coming to you live here on the Fanatical Elfz Network. So if you are tuning in, you can see us on YouTube, on Twitter or X, and on Facebook. Thank you for coming back to us. We had a great pregame show earlier this evening. And tonight we are joined by our great colleague, Joel Cade, the left guard, the What the Elf host, and football philosophy and rocket science. And how are you, Joel?
I'm doing all right. I'm kind of fed up with this football game. They need to just cancel it and move on.
Yeah.
I mean, lights are out. You know, it's like Bull Durham. You win some, you lose some, and some get canceled by light delays. So, I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, NBC's been pretty much just doing interviews the whole game anyway. It's not like they're actually broadcasting the game. They're just broadcasting interviews.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers is an icon. I mean, he was interviewed for 20,000 minutes the entire time during the whole drive the Browns had with their new rookie quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who did a great job. And yet we get to hear how much Chris Collinsworth loves Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, because that's important. You know, when the owner of Pro Football Focus comes out and says he loves somebody, you got to pay attention.
Right.
You know, that's important for some reason. I don't know why.
I saw earlier today before the game started there. Did you see the video of who was it? Our commissioner of football, Roger Goodell.
Okay. Clearly I haven't seen this video.
He's hugging and getting really very happy to talk to Deshaun Watson. It was
sure he is.
Yeah, you should see the video. It's
I'm sure that was totally not orchestrated for television at all or anything.
Anyway,
this is the same day. No, this is the same day they come up with that new policy for players where they can now suspend you for stuff that you do in college. So now they have a policy in place that allows them to suspend Terrell Pryor for his tattoo stuff before he comes into the NFL.
Isn't that crazy? I saw your story when you sent that to me. I was just like, what the hell? Like, this is like, it's just nuts. I mean, even in the work field, other job, you just like, what do you think? It's just so that the Borg can just have complete and utter control.
It's all PR. It's all PR. It's all about making the shield, protecting the shield, making the shield look good. They pretty much have absolute control. They just impose these policies without any input from the NFL Players Association. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure the whole Deshaun Watson investigation, where the judge that they had come out and do this, who pointed out that their policies are just terrible, mm-hmm. They probably wouldn't have had a policy committee, and they came up with this thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's just boneheaded, just dumb.
It's awful.
So currently, the game is restarted in the fourth quarter. The Browns are losing 16-14, but they came out in the second half with their rookie guy who did some nice things. Obviously, this is the glorified scrimmage and whatnot, and everybody right now who's on the Demetric Felton train are back on it big time, saying, "Oh God, we can't cut this guy." But he's done some nice things, but against, second, third, fourth, fifth stringers, I'm sure. So the first half, Kellen Mond quarterbacked for the Brownies, and, he did some good things. I heard Stefanski talk at halftime about how he liked kind of what Mond was doing and running the system and hearing the plays and getting them called at the line of scrimmage. So that's good. He did throw an interception. For a while there on Twitter or X, social media platforms, people thought that same old Browns. Cade York missed a 49-yard field goal. General observations about the game so far, and does it really matter?
You throwing that to me?
Yeah, I'm throwing that to you.
I would, if I was the Browns, I wouldn't even go for touchdowns. I'd get inside whatever amount of yardage you want to see your kicker kick a field goal, and then just kick a field goal. I mean, I'd be doing that all preseason. Let's just get Cade York correct, get him right, get his head right, get his headspace right. So just, go like right now. I mean, I see him on the TV, man. Yeah. They should just go down and kick a field goal. Right. Just let this guy kick the ball. I mean, I'm not a big fan of kickers, but if you're going to have one on your team, you ought to get his head right. And that
Right.
Bajorquez guy, man, kicked like a 100-yard punt. If that guy could have caught the ball, he could have ran it for 30 yards before a Browns player was near him. Why not just kick it 20 yards less and then just have your guy on top of him so he makes a fair catch?
Right.
I mean, it's stuff the Browns do, man. It's preseason, but Bajorquez has been doing that his whole career.
Right.
So that's nothing new. You know, kick the ball 100 yards and then like it gets shocked. Like, oh my gosh, they returned it. Like, well, yeah, because there's nobody can run the 100-yard that fast.
So we're watching the offense is back on the field. We got Robinson out there. I don't know if you're on a tape delay or what you're watching.
I'm on a delay. I got Joe Klecko on my screen. So.
Oh, you still got Joe Klecko. Okay. Well, Robinson just threw a pass. The other running back that just came into the game right now is Hall, Hassan Hall. We talked about him on the pregame show. Kid from Georgia Tech who played at Louisville and then had a pretty decent last year at Georgia Tech there. And he's been taking the kickoffs tonight.
Is this the guy that basically almost gave up a safety on the first play of the game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, if he had put his foot out of bounds there, that would have been a safety, correct?
I'm just like, telling my son we're getting ready to watch this game, and I'm just like, we're going to watch the worst football I've ever watched, and that's called professional football. He's like, oh, it can't be that bad. Here comes the kickoff. Dude tries to catch the ball in his helmet or something, and then, starts, ignoring the ball, and I'm like, if he doesn't get on that, first of all, that could be a touchdown for the Jets.
Right.
Second, if that ball goes out of bounds, it's a safety. I don't know what this guy's thinking he's doing right now, but he's nonchalantly running over there.
Well, he was probably a little nervous. I give the kid a little bit of a first time ever. It wasn't a good moment for the kid, but he's had a couple decent runs off the kickoffs. Now who do they got in here now? They got that McCreary guy from the Ravens.
That's the guy Elliott likes.
No, Hall. No, they got Hall back in there.
Yeah, Elliott was the guy that Elliott likes.
Right. That Elliott was talking about. By the way, Elliott was just fantastic earlier today. He came to us live. They were at, is it Tooley's or Tootie's? They're in Dayton outside of Beaver Creek.
Beaver Creek, yep.
Yep. Yeah. We were saying earlier that we're going to have to all meet there for an away game some afternoon. When we all
That'd be fun.
Yeah. So he was there. He ordered a Reuben pizza. And just had a nice run from Hall, and he was drinking rum out of a pitcher of so it was classic Elliott. We really enjoyed that. So this Jones kid, from Ohio State, watching him on film, I mean, he's on camera right now, and he's ginormous. What was that movie that came?
Guy.
Yeah, what's the movie that the Blind Side movie? That's what the kid reminds me of.
Yeah, but Michael Orr wasn't that big.
Really?
No, Michael Orr wasn't that big.
Okay.
He was just big because he was playing against high school students.
That's true.
You ever see that picture of Myles Garrett running sprints with his high school team? And Myles Garrett looks like he does today, and a whole bunch of skinny white kids. It's a classic picture.
Yeah.
You got to go look it up. Hey, I got some thoughts on this game.
Yes,
so let me get to my thoughts on this game.
You get your thoughts out. Yes.
All right. So they almost had this disastrous safety to start the game.
Right.
Didn't teach that kid how to catch kicks.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the defense. I know the defense out here starting to run a different scheme, and I was really interested to see if they are going to double gap, if they're going to single gap, and they look like they're out there double gapping. And not to my surprise at all, but to the surprise of some people, Jordan Elliott had a great game. Tommy Togiai had a great game because they know how to double gap. And so they look like a completely different defensive line out there, even as backups.
Can you just briefly, in 30 seconds, explain what a double, I know you've explained this, but to me again, because I'm not.
So the Jets are out there single gap scheming. So all their defensive linemen are doing is jumping into a gap. And that's the space between two offensive linemen and trying to just make disruption in the backfield.
Okay.
That's what kind of drives their thing. What the Browns are doing are saying, okay, we're going to line up in off shades and these kind of things.
Yeah.
But then we're going to, fire into the offensive linemen, read what the heck they're doing, and then make an adjustment and try to run to the football. So you've seen all night the Browns have been around the football.
Yes.
That's what a double scap scheme will do for you. It will get you around the Browns. Just apparently on my screen just scored a touchdown.
Oh wow, really?
The Browns defense will be around the
There
football.
you go.
And that kind of scheme will also put linebackers in good positions because it'll free them up and let them run free.
Okay.
So I think the Browns defensive line, I know we're doing great talk about this touchdown or whatever.
Yeah,
the Browns defensive linemen look really good at double gapping right now.
So you're
like
basically
Isaiah McGuire.
Yeah.
Isaiah McGuire looked like he was doing a great job. Siaki Ika looked pretty good. I mean, it looks like they've got their technique down, which is going to be the real thing here.
I guess so. The double gaps are basically you're going to hit the guy on the offensive line, and then you're going to, based on that, you're going to determine how you're going to play.
Right. So you're either going to you could line up and shoot one gap, and you're responsible for that one gap.
Right.
Or you can fire into the offensive lineman, and you become responsible for both gaps on either side.
Gotcha.
And that, depending on what the offensive lineman is doing, is where you're going to try to get into which gap.
Iki didn't look. I mean, and I guess the flight of foot. He hasn't seemed like super. Doesn't look like a fast guy. And maybe just seeing him play a little bit tonight, but he did get in there a few times, like you spoke of. By the way, that was Austin Watkins, the cousin of Sammy Watkins, who got that touchdown, who is our Steve Gill is really high on Austin Watkins. It looked like a nice sharp pass there by Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Browns have taken the lead as we get through the fourth quarter here. So back to your thoughts, though, Joel.
No, I'm just saying I think the defensive line looked like a professional defensive line in a double gap scheme, which is actually somewhat impressive given that, they're going from a single gap scheme. But I will say this, they've been drafting a lot of double gap scheme players over the last few years. So it only makes sense you put them in a scheme where they can actually do what they're supposed to be doing, or actually are good at what they're doing. And they actually perform well at it, so I mean, you draft them to do one thing, you make them do something else. Now they're actually going to be they're actually going to be doing what they were drafted to do. So that should make it a little easier for the defensive line and make it more of a smooth transition.
Right.
And other notes I have here, I think Anthony Schwartz, I don't know what to think of this guy. I don't know what to do, man. He just fumbled against the fourth team, and he's probably got a concussion. We'll probably hear about the concussion later. I think he's been out there, so maybe he doesn't have a concussion.
No, I don't think he did. I saw him. He did catch something earlier, just a little bit before we came on the air.
He caught a pass?
He did. He did.
Good for him.
Yeah.
All right. But I think the story of the night belongs to the sideline hats. Have you seen the hats these people are wearing? First one, we'll start off with Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas has the black hat with the white front with the elf. That's a tremendous hat.
That is.
I mean, I would like to get myself one of those hats. The other hat I want is the one that Deshaun Watson's wearing.
Oh,
right?
dude, I want that
the winter hat with Cleveland
elf
on the front and the Browns.
Yeah,
and you got the elf right there on the front.
Yeah,
that is amazing. I'm already looking for that online.
Yeah, have you seen it?
Already looking for it. I have not seen it yet.
That's got to be, man.
The Fanatics, website where you get all the pro gear, man. I've been scouring that thing, looking for that thing. As soon as I find it, I'm buying it. That one's awesome. And I love those winter hats, being in Ohio, we got to wear those things. Yeah. It's not like
people can buy some of our Fanatical Elfz stuff, by the way, just to throw that out there.
Yeah.
I'm going to have
we should get a hat like that.
We should.
We should get a hat. There's Watson on my screen with that hat, man. That's tremendous. I'm jealous of that hat.
That is a sweet hat. I'm looking at it right now too. That definitely. I got a few compliments here. I got my own, old school here.
Nice.
And I stopped over at the Longhorn Steakhouse earlier for our carryout at dinner, and the guys from Cleveland, and I'm down here in Columbus, so he rolled down the window, and I had my gear on. He's like, "Oh, I love it." He says, "Yeah," and I told him all about the Fanatical Elfz Network.
Yeah, there you go.
He wrote it down. He's going to tune in. He's sending it to his friends and family, which we need you to do. Download, Spotify, Apple, just subscribe or follow us. Hit that. The other thing, too, is that people should hit the review button give us 5 stars on Apple, and that goes a tremendously long way. And like Joel, you were not here this afternoon, but our downloads are, we're quadrupling, and this month we're already ahead of where we were last month. So we really love everybody tuning in. And we've got Joel's show here. He does his show. So any other thoughts on the evening other than the hats?
Well, I was going to say Kevin Stefanski's hat was top notch too, man. The trucker hat, that was pretty good too.
Oh, that is good. Yeah.
I will say my last comment I got is, Joe Kelly Jr., the preseason Hall of Famer. They got to have a Hall of Fame for people who ball out in preseason and never make a team. That would be him.
Well, it was mentioned earlier. BP of Pepper Pike joined us on our show briefly, and he mentioned the name Ben Gay. Do you remember Ben Gay?
I remember Ben. Yep.
Yeah. So when referring to John Kelly, no, John Kelly. I tell you, I got to give him props. I mean, I'm glad he got the touchdown tonight. They said he had 14 touches of the ball in the first 24 plays of the Browns, or 30 some plays the Browns had in the first half. So. He was very active in the first half, but
honestly, man, I don't even listen to announcers.
Yeah,
well, I don't even listen to announcers. I just watch the game on silent because I prefer it that way. Yeah. All I know is I'm watching people get interviewed, and it just drives me insane.
Well, it was really bad today. I'm not going to kid you. I mean, listening to Chris Collinsworth gawk over Aaron Rodgers is just like, okay, how much Aaron Rodgers can we get? I mean, it was
is Aaron Rodgers. Is Chris Collins to Aaron Rodgers the same as like John Madden to Brett Favre? Is it that level where like, oh my God, please marry my daughter or something?
Hey, by the way, I was telling Elliot earlier, good job on your interview earlier this week with your Jets.
Dan Burnham.
Yeah.
This is the Jets Life, part of the Fanatical Elfz Sports Network.
I didn't know if you had heard my take on that interview. I talked about it briefly on the Johnny Cleveland podcast, and just talked about how delusional
Jets fans are delusional. Yeah. I'm sitting there, right? I'm asking them, like, okay, I'm looking at this ESPN ranking or somebody ranking, and the Jets are 7th, and I'm like, that's ridiculous for the Jets to be 7th on the power rankings.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for this guy. I'm like, I'm setting him up. Like, oh, we're probably should be around 10 or whatever. Yeah. Oh no, that's way too low. We're probably top 2 or 3. Like, oh my God. Like, how do you even say that with a straight face? Like, I can look at it and say that 22 is probably too low for the Browns.
Right.
But they're probably between 10 and 15. They're not like top 5.
Sure.
They're probably between 10 and 15 until they can prove they can be top 5.
Right.
This guy's like, okay, they're 7 right now, and they should really be at like 2 or 3. And I'm like, okay, let's test his rationality. Like, here's the Ravens sitting at 5, which is absolutely insane.
Crazy.
Absolutely insane. Well, I think the Ravens are probably right where they should be. I actually bet on them to win the Super Bowl last year. I'm like trying not to lose it on the air. Like, talking to him. He's a good guy. I like him. Don't get me wrong. But it's interesting hearing other people have their takes on things. The most interesting take from that podcast, which was the Football Philosophy and Rocket Science, was his discussion of Elijah Moore as the preseason hero. Like, oh yeah, he comes out in the beginning of the preseason and plays great in camp, and then you just lose him during the season. So we'll see if that comes the thing.
Well, and you heard my take. If you listen to the Johnny Cleveland show, I talked about Elijah Moore. I hate Stefanski and I hate Elijah Moore, according to some. I did that for you, Joel.
I appreciate it.
Because
you started in on this airplane thing. I'm like, here we go. Here comes the hate. And then it was, some people think I hate Stefanski. Well, like, you're doing it right now. So
I did, and if you heard my story, but it goes back. I mean, I don't know, like you said, and it probably happened, but your take, I appreciate that. I have this thing with Stefanski. I really do. And I think it's just because I don't get the pro game maybe as much as you do. And I want everybody to be saints and nice and players aren't like that. And we give way too much respect.
In a different world, man.
Oh, they do. No, they do. And when we're talking about it, we have no idea. I mean, we're talking about something that just is I can't get my head around
as
it.
a like a high school, junior high, pee wee football coach, right? You're teaching a lot of kids who are not going to play professional sports, right?
Sure.
So you're trying to teach them life lessons and how to be good people. When you get to that level of professional sports, you're talking about kids who just had a free pass on everything.
Yes,
Well,
you're
I'm not
right.
going to discipline him because we bench him. We're not going to win a football game. We're not going to win a baseball game.
Yeah.
We're not going to win a basketball game. And
Good perspective.
my
right.
job is bent on us winning games. So
Yeah.
I'm going to let them slide on some of this stuff. So
Yeah.
now that the game becomes, they're going to slide on that, but I got to give them a reason to care otherwise.
Mhm.
And let's be honest, what's going to happen here is somebody's going to contact the Browns. This is ridiculous.
Right.
And then they're going to find the players, and the players
Right.
aren't going to care because it's going to be like $100 a player or something. And that's like 0.01% of their salary. So they don't care, and they're just going to go trash the next plane.
Right.
I just think, if you got a plane sitting idle for 6 hours, go clean it up. Why are you waiting to the last second?
So, let's wrap things up here tonight. We've got about 5 minutes to go in this game. The Browns are clinging to a 21-16 lead. Do give them props. They've done some nice things, obviously, against the 4th, 5th, and 6th teamers here. But, they just jumbled the ball. I think that was Felton again. Well, I tell you, seeing him in the backfield, he's just terrible. I mean, I scared to death of Felton taking punts. I mean, really, honest to God, at games last season and the year before, especially last year, the fan base sitting in their living rooms and the fan base at the stadium were all the same. We were all like scared to death when Felton takes a punt, and right now he just jumbled it. I tell you, that's why he's not going to make the team. I mean,
honestly, I don't think Felton makes the team.
No, he doesn't.
If he was going to make the team, he wouldn't be the running back right now. Okay,
right.
They're showcasing him. Maybe somebody wanted to pick up our 6th round pick. I don't know.
Yes.
I can't see him making the team. I can't see Anthony Schwartz making this team, but I don't know. If Marquise Goodwin's hurt and he can't get past these things, maybe you keep him just for his speed. You give him the ball, he's going to fumble it. He gets hit, he's going to get a concussion. I don't know what to do.
Are there cuts this week? Do we have cuts coming up?
Teams may cut people this week.
Okay.
But the official cuts don't happen until after the 3rd game.
Okay.
So there's no tiers anymore of
Yeah.
cuts this week, cuts next week, cuts the 3rd week.
Okay.
It's all like all the cuts happen after the last preseason game.
Okay. So, but they can cut along the way if they want to.
Yes. So you might find a guy like, if you think, okay, this guy's not going to make the team and we can't seem to trade him, you may cut him after the first preseason game, let him have a chance to be a free agent, pick up a place where he wants to go, that kind of thing. You may see some of that. The Titans are out there cutting tackles, so,
Mm-hmm. So next week, the Brownies play the Washington Commanders, who might change their name again. Yeah, they might change their name again before next weekend. But
they're using the term Redskins with the utmost respect.
Is that a Redskin? Is that a Redskins with a C in it instead of the K?
I don't know. But according to Ron Rivera, they use it with the utmost respect. So I've never racially insulted someone with the utmost respect, but apparently this goes on.
Can we go back to the Cleveland Indians? Can we just go back to the Indians instead of the
All
Guardians?
we have to do is we say it's the Cleveland Indians, but with utmost respect. Right. And I think we'll be good, right?
What do you think of that? Not to change the subject here. Are you in it? Do you follow baseball much?
Some.
Okay, so the Indians basically traded away a few players, and everyone feels like they're out of the race, and they're only like 2 games out of first place. It's crazy. We're the first part of August. You still got 2 months of baseball, so it's just funny to me how.
Josh Bell was a rental player, so I don't.
Yes.
I don't begrudge.
Okay, we got Robinson running for his life here. Well, I tell you, that run he had in the 3rd quarter where he danced along the sideline and picked up another 15, 20 yards. That was sweet. That was a Josh Dobbs sort of preseason.
Well, he's doing this right now against like the 4th and 5th teamers. So
absolutely,
he's going to have to get his reads better. Some of his reads aren't real good, and he's kind of tentative to throw the ball. So he's relying on his legs more, simply because of he's not real comfortable with the offense. Something out there he's not comfortable with. So they're doing a lot of hands offs and the speed factor will pick up for him, but I don't know if he's going to do it that well against starters. The other thing I would point out about the Browns offense tonight is they ran one outside zone play run the entire first half. One. They come out in the first 5 minutes of the third quarter and ran 5 of them.
Yes.
So they're clearly in run mode with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. They're making it easy on him. And I will say about these penalties the Browns have been getting for formations, 2 of those formation penalties were on James Hudson. And the reason those are on James Hudson is because he's lining up too far back. The rule is you have to have your helmet at the center's hip. And Hudson is off the line of scrimmage. And the tight end is off the line of scrimmage.
Right.
The problem is because Hudson's off the line of scrimmage, it makes it look like the tight end is on the line of scrimmage, which then gets him covered up by the wide receiver, which makes it a formation penalty. Tight ends are taught to line up where, like, let's say this is why the center is important. The center lines up and sets his stance. The guards set their stances off the center.
Right.
The tackles set their stances off the guards.
Right.
The tight end sets their stances off the tackle. So if your tackle's already freaking out that he's getting beat and he's backing up, and backing up because he's afraid to get beat, then all of a sudden he's going to be off the line of scrimmage, which is going to mess up the formation, which is going to mess up the tight ends. It's going to mess up a lot of stuff. James Hudson just needs to get better is what it is.
Yeah. No,
line up where you're supposed to just play better.
I've been really surprised. Do you think Hudson gets cut?
I don't know, man. If they believed in him, they wouldn't have drafted DeJuan Jones. I'll tell you that. I mean, the thing with Hudson is he came out of Cincinnati. He played defensive line. He hadn't played offensive line very long. His footsteps and his footwork was not the best, but he had athleticism, which is going for him. So you take a chance on a guy like this, thinking you can teach him how to play football at the pro level. Well, I don't know if that's working for him right now, although he's doing better than this left tackle. But I don't know if that's working for him right now. So they may just go DeJuan Jones.
It wouldn't be that bad. I tell you, this Robinson kid, though, I know he's going against 4th and 5th stringers right now, but I just like his mobility. He's reminding me of a young Deshaun Watson, who, we're talking about, and for him to, he's kind of a replica almost, hopefully with not the side stuff on the side, but sorry. By the way, have you noticed that the NFL announcers are really trying to get away from that now? It's like the NFL wants to move beyond it. Like they came out with their policy, they gave them some time before the game. So that's these social media posts that's circulating of showing Roger Goodell with hand.
Yeah, I think they're all just trying to get past it now. Like, we've done our damage, we've done what we can to this guy.
Right.
Now we're just moving on because we don't want the image to the league to just be continually run through the mud while he's playing football.
Right. So we are on live. Thank you for joining us. I know we have people watching us right now on the X, the former Twitter. And I've got my dog here too. So we're the Browns post-game show. We got Joel Cade here, the left guard, part of our Fanatical Elfz crew, and we're going to hang tight just for a few more minutes as we wrap things up. The Browns wrap things up tonight, but we've been talking about the Browns tonight, and we got to see a lot of young players. Particularly the 2 quarterbacks went at it tonight. Kellen Mond started the game for the Browns, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson has played in the second half. John Kelly, the Browns running back, has done what he does every preseason and looks like the next Jim Brown. I
don't think he was that good.
No. By the way, did you see the whole spiel this afternoon that they honored Jim Brown there in Canton? They had a conference thing going on there. Oh, we got another nice catch by... Is that Anthony Walker? No, Anthony. That's no.
I don't know. I'll tell you what, I was stuck in traffic today for a long time.
Yeah, what happened there? Tell us all about your
75 northbound's a mess just south of Dayton, around the Moraine area.
Yeah.
and it's broken off in 2 lanes into 1 lane. And if either one of them, then they come back together. It's a mess. I sat there for probably an hour. I was pretty upset.
Well, we're just glad you're here with us tonight. And
I made it home.
Yeah. No, next week again, the Browns have a preseason, their only preseason home game. By the way, I think I've got a couple tickets.
Oh, look at this. He's punting it 100 yards, and now this guy's going to take it back to the house. He stepped out of bounds. Okay,
I'm thinking you're going to hear this live if you're watching on the Fanatical Elfz network. That we're giving. Oh God! Did he take it back?
You hear what I'm telling you? I mean, he kicked the ball 100 yards, which allows him to return the ball, and now you got all these people down there trying to chase this guy down. Just kick it 50 yards. Let the guys run down there, scare the crap at him, so he gets the fair catch, and you just move on with life.
Right.
I don't understand why we got to play with fire all the time.
So, breaking news here: the Fanatical Elfz network is going to be giving away. That's right, 2 free tickets to the upcoming preseason home opener against the Washington Redskins or whatever they're called. So you're hearing it first now, and we'll be posting details later this week. And if you'd like those tickets, you're going to have to follow the Fanatical Elfz network on the X, and you have to retweet us and be a Browns fan. So there you go. So spread the word, Joel, on your shows later this week as we start prepping for the next game. I think is it next Friday night or Saturday?
Next Friday.
Is it Friday night?
Friday, the 11th.
The 11th. Okay. So so the Browns are clinging to a 21-16 lead right now. They're coming up to the 2-minute warning. They're throwing a lot of flags tonight.
They have not thrown as many flags as they should have been throwing. The Jets have lined up offsides pretty much every play.
Right.
I'm like, looking at this, like, what in the world are we doing here?
Right.
And that 47 is like trying to time up the snap has been in the neutral zone at least 3 times. And every time it's like, oh, they're going to call him for it this time. Then it's something else. They're going to call it this time. And then my son looks at me, he's like, well, I guess you're not in mid-season form yet. I was like, it's not me, it's the refs.
Right.
I don't even think they know what they're looking at right now.
So the Browns, I'm just watching this defense. It's just a very vanilla defense right now. Not a lot, no one's really blitzing, doing any of that activity. Do you think that that'll increase as we get through into the preseason games by the games 3 or 4? Do you think Watson will be playing against Mahomes in that last preseason game out in Kansas City?
Who knows?
For the NFL purposes and,
Who knows? I have no idea. I mean, one thing I'll say about a double gap defense is when you do blitz, they're not expecting it. And it is pretty effective. I watched at least 2 blitzes tonight, and that allowed the defensive lineman to get right in there and make a play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was just calling out Isaiah McGuire for having a good game, and they ran we used to call it a blood blitz in high school, but the end went out, the tackle went in, linebacker coming through the hole, and McGuire was able to come around the tackle and make the play. So, I mean, they won a couple blitzes.
McGuire. I didn't see McGuire. What number was he? Do you remember?
He's wearing 57.
57. Okay.
He's wearing 57.
Thompson had a nice tackle in there, too, at one point. I think Isaiah Thompson, they kind of came back at him in one of those plays, maybe early in the third quarter. So, all right, Joel. Well, thanks for showing up. We appreciate. I know it's late, but thank you for joining us here on the Fanatical Elfz Network. The Browns are clinging to a 21-16 lead as we talk Browns postgame, which is not technically the postgame yet, but saw some good things tonight and a lot of things for the Browns to build on. We'll have a lot more to talk about on the shows next week. We've got your shows, What the Elf Was That, plus the football philosophy and rocket science.
And I bring the philosophy to that part, just to be clear.
You do.
Elliot brings the rocket science.
And Elliot brings the waitresses. I've been very impressed with, first he starts dating a Cincinnati Bengals cheerleader in his past. Then he goes and gets the bartender to come out and talk to us. Her name was Wendy. Found that out. And she was super excited. She had a really cool, she was wearing a Browns gear and everything. So it was pretty sweet.
Did you hear him talking about Joe Namath and the bikini girls and stuff?
A little bit, yeah.
Like, come on, man. I don't know what's going on with that guy. I tell you what, tune into football philosophy and rocket science and just listen to Elliot, man. Yeah, he's something else. You just got to get him started.
You were the best part of the interview that you had with the Jets guys. was that you were when he started talking about Aaron Rodgers. You kept saying, "Okay, wait, I forget the kid's name from the Jets." He says, "Okay, here we go. Here's Elliott. He's going to ruin your take or something like." Well, how did you?
Oh, he was like, "Wow, there's nothing can bring me down." I'm like, "Well, Elliott will ruin it for you. Just watch."
Yeah, Elliott.
And he's like, "No, he can't." And then Elliott started like, "Here it comes. Here it comes. He's about to ruin it right here. Ruin it right here."
That's classic.
Well, Elliott had a pretty good point. Like he's slowing down, which means you're gonna have to protect him better.
Oh, I think so. And he's not gonna do what he did, obviously, and he'll still be a good quarterback. And historically, he'll go down as somebody great. But man, to give him 15,000 minutes today during the Browns' opening drive,
especially for a guy who's probably going to be playing in Minnesota next year. I mean, he's on the Brett Favre track to the Hall of Fame right now.
Right. It's like, and they talk like he's 40 years old, and they talked on NBC tonight about how, well, you really seem like you enjoy the game, and you're being a mentor and all these other things now. And I'm like, what the hell do you think he's been doing for the last, he's 40 years old. Like, he's been in this position before. It's not like he was in Green Bay for 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're in one job and you're doing something for a long time, I mean, it doesn't matter what the job is. You're going to, 18 years is a long time. So,
yeah. And eventually you're there long enough and you see all the new people come in and you're like, I don't want to do this whole job by myself. So I'm going to teach this kid how to do it, and if that's where the mentoring comes in. Like, I just don't feel like doing two people's jobs. So I'm going to teach you to do your job. So I don't have to do mine and yours simultaneously.
Right.
That's why people mentor.
Yes.
Come on. Let's be real about what this is.
Well, Joel, I'm going to stick on here just until the final bell rings here, just in case we have any other diehard.
I'll stick on with you. I'll stick on with you.
Well, you have any good jokes? No.
No, I don't.
No, that's good. So yeah, tomorrow.
Dietrich Felton, Joe Kelly Jr. or whatever his name is.
See, now the Jets. Okay, it's second down. Now you're probably a second or two ahead of me, so don't tell me what
they're going to call PI on that, aren't they?
Oh crap! See, this is.
I don't think they're going to. I mean, that was clearly PI, but they're not calling it. They're ready to go home.
Oh my gosh!
They're going home.
I'm watching it after you.
He's just mauling him right now. That's clearly PI.
That was a terrible.
He grabs that dude's arm like, not today.
Wow.
You see that?
I just saw it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's clearly PI.
Two ahead of me. This is great, guys. So if you're watching this live, Joel is about 3 seconds ahead of me on the stream. So if they score a touchdown, let the viewers know. So I have third down. All right. You got to tell me what's going on here, Joel.
Oh, there's a flag.
Oh boy. Are they going to be at the goal line?
No, it's a delay game.
Oh, delay game.
I don't know if we're allowed to announce these games like this, man. We're going to get sued by the NFL.
We're not watching it. No one can see us. I mean, they can't see the screen. We're all good.
Robert Saleh with his bald head.
Yeah. So now the NFL's opening game is Thursday night when the Detroit Lions go and play the Kansas City Chiefs. And lots of high hope for the Detroit Lions. I heard tonight on the broadcast that the Lions have.
Oh man, he dropped the ball.
Oh, did he? Oh, see, you're telling me. Was it almost an interception?
Just watch. It's coming for you.
Oh!
He dropped the ball. That's like it hit him in his hands, man. That's the problem.
That was like the Browns. They've had a couple of those plays here in the second half. There was one earlier when we were on the air that the guy missed. Oh, that clearly they didn't show a replay. I wonder who that kid was. Anybody know?
Oh, I don't know. They're probably doing an interview of a Hall of Fame guy right now. So,
so is it fourth down?
4th and 15.
4th and 15. Okay, probably
almost got some pressure.
Oh,
I think he caught it that time.
Interception.
Who's that? Who is that? Some guy who's gonna be bagging groceries, but
he did catch it. Way to go! Who is that? That's 36.
Some guy. I don't even know.
I have no idea who that is.
But that pretty much seals the game for you.
Well, it's a nice way to. I still can't see the kid's last name.
I don't know. I'll look him up real quick.
Well, that was a nice way of the Brownies to come back, obviously.
Because it's important to win these preseason games.
Well, and we go back to 2017 with Deshaun Kaiser. 4-0, baby. 4-0 preseason.
That was Bubba Bolden.
Bubba Bolden. Now, he's been with the team, has he not, in the past?
I don't know. I have no idea. Now you got an unsportsmanlike on the Browns.
Uh-oh. Now, is Bolden from Boise State? After the play?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to agree with Schwartz here. That's garbage.
That is total.
Well, what they're calling, by the way, is that you have Browns players coming off the sidelines with no helmets on. And
Anthony
so that's
Schwartz.
what they're calling.
It's good to see Jim Schwartz. See all these Schwartzes. Jim Schwartz, Anthony Schwartz, then you got Anthony Walker. I was calling Anthony Walker Anthony Schwartz the other day on my show. I was so embarrassed. I had to come back on the next night and apologize for calling Anthony Walker Anthony Schwartz. But we've got so the Brownies are going to take a knee here, I believe, and they will win their preseason game. A nice win. Who would you say were the defensive standouts that you saw? I got to write a Dog Pound Daily article. Have any good takes?
I like Tommy Togiai tonight.
And
I liked Jordan Elliott as long as he was in there. They really kind of held that down up the middle. I mean, last year you kind of see these guys getting driven down the field 20 yards, and they're kind of holding it down, and they're doing their reads, and they're getting where they're supposed to be.
Right.
So, I mean, I was impressed by those two on defense.
Okay.
But that's who I watch. I watch linemen. So
right. See, that's what I was trying to on the offensive side of the ball.
How do I throw Isaiah McGuire in there as well? If you're wanting like a standout rookie, I'd throw Isaiah McGuire in there.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was. Do you think? Well, here, let me look here real quick. Any final take before I let you go?
No, I'm good.
You're good.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.
We gotta lose one of these preseason games. Otherwise, you don't want the curse of going 3-0 and then going 0-17. We don't want that. So we got to lose one of these preseason games. We're not the Ravens. We're not out here trying to win our preseason games.
And the Ravens were ranked number 5 in some. What ranking was that you saw? Was that ESPN?
I don't know. I don't even remember. I think it's probably some ESPN poll or something. I mean, I think ESPN polls are based on like if we hype these games. I think they probably like look at their schedule and say, these are the teams we're broadcasting. Let's put them in the top 10 and like perpetuate this so that we have all the good games.
I do. I think it's.
I'm not even joking. I literally think this is what they do.
Oh, I totally. I mean, the storylines that they're building all the time. Like earlier in the week, they were talking about Aaron Rodgers and Denver and this animosity between whatever so-and-so said from Denver. And then they're all already talking about it. Like, week 8, they're going to be playing out in Denver. And I mean, the storyline setups in the NFL drive the league. I mean, they're make so much money, but it really is almost fixed in a way. Boy, the Borg is just at it. So
I tell you, see that tweet about the Tulia Tagovailoa getting offers to go to the SEC, some unnamed SEC team. I'm like, was this ESPN paying them to go to the SEC? I mean,
right.
I wouldn't even be surprised. ESPN going to come out and pay them because that's their network. The SEC is their network. So I wouldn't even be surprised if they don't want the name to hype up all preseason so they can run it out there.
So the week was good. The Browns had a good week in Greenbrier. They trashed an airplane. They came home. They came back and beat the Jets. And now the Browns will carry that euphoria over into playing Washington next Friday night down at Cleveland Browns Stadium. We are going to give away 2, that's right, Joel, 2 tickets to that game. So start spreading the news, join in the fun, follow the Fanatical Elfz Network. We appreciate you tuning in tonight and following us toward the end of the game. We had lights go out there in Canton. Saturday, big day for Browns fans. If you are a diehard fan like we all know you are, you need to hustle over, get down to Canton. And as we honored the great Joe Thomas, number 73, as he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. Can't wait to watch that moment. He talked tonight on one of the many interviews on NBC, and his drive and his love affair for his family. And he had a 7-year-old son there, and they have, I think, 4 kids. So that'll be a touching moment. I think it's the first time that the family and his wife are inducting him as he goes into the Hall of Fame. Should be a great.
By the way, that dude's got huge hands.
Yeah.
Like, his hands are monstrous. Like, I'm looking at, like, that's like Michelangelo's David huge hands, like completely disproportionate to the rest of his body. He's got these like little arms, and these like giant hands.
Yes.
Like, it's insane.
Yes.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, that's it. That's all I got, man. I'm done. I just tune in. Thanks again for tuning into our Fanatical Elfz Network. We will be bringing you pregame and postgame shows like this. We'll be bringing you, during the regular season, we're going to have postgame shows, talk about Kevin Stefanski, what our takes are on him and the team as we get going. Saw some good things tonight. We had a lot of fun, and hopefully they'll do some good things Friday night in front of the home crowd. And have a good night, everybody. Go Brownies. Take care. Okay, see you, Joel.
See you.